He was sent to kill an alien rebel. Now he's running beside her. Jacob Sterling had 3 seconds to take the shot before his target disappeared into the crowd. Through the scope of his rifle, the alien woman's profile was sharp against the chaos of the black market station. Green skin caught the harsh sodium lights, that distinctive crimson hair pulled back in a tactical braid. Sera, the name on every intelligence brief for the past 8 months, always one step ahead, always slipping through their fingers. His finger rested against the trigger, breath controlled, heartbeat steady. The crowd parted for just a moment. She turned and looked directly at him. Not toward him, at him. Through 200 meters of distance, across a sea of bodies and cargo containers, those strange amber eyes locked onto his position with absolute certainty. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Then she ran. Jacob swore and broke down the rifle in 4 efficient movements. She'd known he was there the whole time. He keyed his comm as he moved. Target is mobile, heading toward the industrial sectors, in pursuit. Director Latimer's voice crackled back, distorted by distance and interference. Do not let her reach a ship, Sterling. She testifies, everything falls apart. Jacob didn't answer. He was already running. The station was a converted asteroid, honeycombed with tunnels that reeked of recycled air and desperation. He tracked her through the crowd, caught glimpses of that red hair turning corners, always just ahead. She was fast, faster than the briefings had suggested. His augmented vision picked up thermal traces on the walls where her hands had touched, still warm. She'd touched the walls deliberately, leaving him a trail. The realization should have stopped him. This was a trap, obviously, professionally executed, but his orders were absolute, and Jacob Sterling had never failed to complete a mission. He followed the heat signatures deeper into the station's guts, into sections where the crowds thinned and the lighting flickered. The industrial sector smelled like machine oil and electricity. He found her in a cargo bay 3 levels down. She stood in the center of the open space, surrounded by stacked containers and exposed conduits. No cover, no escape routes he could see. Her hands were empty, held slightly away from her body. She wore fitted tactical gear that looked scavenged from a dozen different sources, pieced together into something functional. Up close, she was smaller than he'd expected, maybe 5'6". Dangerous things often came in deceptive packages. "You can put the gun away," she said. Her voice was lower than he'd expected, with a slight harmonic quality that marked her species. "Turn around slowly," Jacob said. He kept his pistol trained on her center mass. "Hands where I can see them." She complied, moving with careful precision. "You're Lieutenant Jacob Sterling, Colonial Intelligence, Special Operations Division. 3 confirmed kills on my people. 7 suspected. You prefer the Remington sniper system, but you're better with a pistol in close quarters. You've done your homework." "I've been watching you too," she said. Those amber eyes were unnerving, too large, with an extra eyelid that flickered sideways occasionally. "For 6 weeks now, ever since they assigned you to kill me. Then you know I don't miss." "I know you've never missed a target who deserved it," she said. She took a step toward him. "But I'm not what your briefings told you I am." Jacob's finger tightened on the trigger. "You're a terrorist. You've stolen classified military technology. You've killed 4 colonial officers. In self-defense, and I stole nothing that wasn't already stolen from my people." Her hands were shaking slightly. "Jacob, I need you to listen to me. Please, everything you think you know about this war is—" "Stop moving." She stopped. "I can show you the truth," she said quietly. "I can prove what I'm saying, but I need to touch you, just for a moment. Will you let me do that?" "That's not happening. Then you'll kill me believing a lie, and thousands more will die after me, and the lie will keep growing until there's nothing left but ashes on both sides." Her voice cracked slightly. "Is that what you want?" "What I want doesn't matter. It's the only thing that matters." She took another step forward. "You have a sister, Rebecca. She was 23 when she died in the Ganymede attack 5 years ago. You joined intelligence because of her, because you wanted revenge on the aliens who killed her." Jacob's jaw clenched. How do you know that? Because I know who really killed her, and it wasn't my people. The pistol wavered, just slightly. You're lying. Let me show you, Sera said. She raised one hand, palm out. Please, if I'm lying, you'll know immediately. Then you can shoot me and complete your mission. But if I'm telling the truth... She swallowed hard. If I'm telling the truth, then everything changes. This was the moment where training should have overridden everything else. The moment where Jacob should have pulled the trigger, filed the mission report, moved on to the next assignment. He'd killed 17 people in his career with colonial intelligence. None of them had haunted him because they'd all been threats to humanity's survival. Clear. Simple. Necessary. But Sera wasn't raising a weapon. She was raising an open hand, offering something he didn't understand. And there was something in her eyes that looked like desperate hope. One wrong move, he said. He lowered the pistol slightly. Sera's breath released in a shuddering exhale. She walked toward him slowly, each step deliberate. When she was close enough that he could see the faint pattern of darker green that marked her skin like scales, she reached up toward his face. This will feel strange, she whispered. Try not to fight it. Her fingers touched his cheek, skin cool against his, and the world exploded into light and memory and someone else's terror. He was standing on the bridge of an alien vessel, but the memories weren't his. They were hers. He could feel Sera's excitement and nervousness as her ship dropped out of hyperspace near Jupiter's orbit. The diplomatic vessel carried no weapons. Sera was young here, barely trained, one of 12 peace negotiators sent to establish first contact with humanity. The date stamp in the corner of the vision read 5 years ago. Human ships approached. Sera's people sent greetings in 30 different frequencies, every peaceful overture they knew. The humans didn't respond. She remembered feeling confused, then frightened. Then the human ships opened fire without warning, without provocation, without mercy. Sera's ship tried to flee. Escape pods launched desperately. She was in one, spiraling toward Europa, watching her friends and mentors burn in the void. The pod crashed. She survived. 3 others survived. They sent a distress signal to their homeworld, transmitted everything they'd witnessed. And then the human orbital strike hit Ganymede Station, killing 3,000 colonists, including a young intelligence analyst named Rebecca Sterling who'd been trying to report something irregular in the sensor data, who'd seen that the human military ships had fired first. The memory shattered. Jacob stumbled backward, breaking contact. His hand came up instinctively, touching his face where her fingers had been. The sensation lingered, not just the physical touch, but the echo of her thoughts, her feelings, her absolute certainty that she was telling the truth. No, it's not possible. We have documentation, witnesses. The aliens fired first. That's how the war started. That's what they told you, Sera said. Her face was wet with tears. Sharing the memory had cost her something. She looked drained, haunted. That's what they told everyone. But I was there, Jacob. I saw it happen. And your sister saw it too, in the sensor data, before they killed her to keep her quiet. The cargo bay felt too small suddenly, the air too thin. Jacob's mind raced through the implications, through 5 years of missions and kills and unquestioned orders. You're a telepath, he said. His voice sounded distant to his own ears. You could have made me see anything you wanted. I can share memories, I can't fabricate them. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. You know I'm not lying, you felt it, the memory was real. Jacob raised the pistol again. His hand was steady, but his mind was chaos. Even if that's true, even if it is, my orders are to bring you in or kill you, that doesn't change. I know. She didn't move, didn't try to run. Do what you have to do, but know that when you pull that trigger, you're killing the only person who can prove what really happened. The station's alarm system shrieked to life. Red emergency lights flooded the cargo bay. Sera's head snapped toward the entrance. Security! Someone reported our fight. Heavy blast doors began grinding shut at both ends. Through the narrowing gap, Jacob could see armored guards running toward them, weapons raised. Sera turned to him, truly afraid for the first time. If they take me, I'll never make it to trial. Your people have kill teams on every station in the sector. Jacob knew he'd been part of those teams. And if they recognize you helping me, you're dead too. The moment you hesitated, you became a liability. The guards were shouting orders, 5 seconds until the doors sealed. Sera extended her hand. Trust me or we both die here. Jacob grabbed her hand. The contact flooded his mind with information, not memories, schematics. The cargo bay layout overlaid with her knowledge of maintenance tunnels. Northwest corner, he said automatically. Maintenance hatch behind those containers. She smiled, fierce and grateful. Run. The first guard through opened fire. Jacob returned 3 shots, dropping him. Sera vaulted over the body, grabbed the fallen rifle, and fired behind them without looking. You said you weren't armed, he shouted. Context matters. They reached the container stack. Jacob provided covering fire while Sera worked the maintenance hatch. It hissed open. She dropped through first. He followed, pulling it shut as weapons fire tore through the space above. The maintenance tunnel forced them to crouch run through darkness. Sera moved with complete confidence. Jacob stayed close, his shoulder occasionally brushing hers. Each touch brought flickers of sensation, her awareness of the tunnel system, her fear, her desperate hope. Where are we going, he asked. Docking Bay 7, I have a ship there. They'll lock down all departures. Not if we're fast enough. They emerged into a secondary corridor. Sera took his hand deliberately. The contact was brief but intense. Shared tactical awareness of guard positions, patrol routes, camera blind spots. When she released him, they both knew exactly how to reach the docking bay unseen. Once, they pressed into a maintenance alcove as a patrol passed within arm's reach. The space was barely large enough for one person. Sera's back was against his chest, her breathing quick and shallow. He could feel her heart racing, could smell something like cinnamon and electricity on her skin. The patrol passed, neither moved immediately. Jacob, thank you for trusting me. I haven't decided if I trust you yet. She turned her head slightly. But you didn't kill me, that's a start. They reached the docking bay. Sera's ship was exactly where she'd said, a compact scout vessel with mismatched hull panels. You stole this, he said. Borrowed with prejudice. She was already moving toward the boarding ramp. Are you coming or not? Jacob looked back toward the station interior. He could still abort this, turn her in, claim he was maintaining cover. Latimer would believe it if he sold it right. Sera stood at the top of the ramp, silhouetted against the ship's interior lights. Waiting. Not pleading, just waiting for him to choose. He climbed the ramp. The ship's interior was cramped but organized. Sera moved to the pilot's seat, hands dancing over controls. The engines hummed to life. Strap in, this is going to be rough. Jacob took the co-pilot seat. They're going to shoot us down. They're going to try. The ship lifted smoothly. Sera's piloting was instinctive, beautiful to watch. She threaded them through the docking bay exit just as the emergency doors began to close, scraping paint off the starboard side. Space opened around them. Then the station's defense grid opened fire. Sera threw the ship into a corkscrew roll that would have torn a larger vessel apart. Weapons fire streaked past them, close enough that the shields flared blue. She jinked left, dropped, rolled right. Her hands moved constantly, each motion deliberate and perfect. We're not going to make it, he said, watching their shield percentage drop. Have a little faith. She activated something on her console. The engine note changed, climbing higher. Then they jumped. The transition to hyperspace felt like being turned inside out. Jacob's stomach lurched. The view screen shifted to the characteristic blue-white tunnel of faster-than-light travel. They'd made it. Sera slumped back, exhaling hard. Her hands were shaking. Well, that went better than expected. Better? We're fugitives, both of us. My own people will hunt me now. Welcome to my life. She swiveled to face him. I'm sorry. I know what you gave up back there. I didn't give up anything. I just postponed a decision. Jacob's hand rested on his sidearm. We need to talk properly. I want answers. That's fair. She stood. In the small cockpit, they were close enough that he could see the exhaustion in her eyes. But first we need to discuss where we're going. I assumed you had a plan. There's a neutral world called Sanctum 3 days from here. The Arbitration Council meets there. If I can testify before them publicly, it's the only chance to expose the truth. 3 days in this ship, alone. Is that a problem? Jacob looked at her, really looked at her, not as a target but as a person. Beautiful in a way that was foreign and familiar at once. I don't know yet, he said honestly. Sera smiled, sad and understanding. Fair enough, the sleeping quarters are aft. There's one bunk. We'll figure out shifts. I've set our course. The autopilot is reliable. Get some rest. Jacob moved toward the aft compartment, then paused. Sera, that memory you showed me, was it real? She turned, met his eyes. Every moment, I swear it. He found the single bunk built for someone smaller than him and lay down without removing his gear. His pistol stayed within reach. Through the thin bulkhead, he could hear Sera moving in the cockpit, checking systems. His comm unit pulsed against his chest, encrypted channel. He activated it with reluctance. Latimer's voice was cold. Sterling, report. Target escaped with the stolen vessel. I'm in pursuit, maintaining surveillance. A long pause. You hesitated, Lieutenant. The security feed showed you hesitating. I was gathering intelligence. She was willing to talk. She's willing to lie, and apparently so are you. You have 48 hours to complete your mission, Sterling. Kill the alien and return to base, or there will be consequences. The channel went dead. Jacob stared at the comm unit in his hand. It pulsed again. Not encrypted this time, a video file, sender unknown. Against his better judgment, Jacob opened it. The footage was grainy, from a fixed security camera. It showed a woman in a cell, thin, bruised, wearing prison grays. But Jacob would have known that face anywhere. His sister, alive. The video timestamp was 3 days ago. The comm pulsed one final time, Latimer's voice stripped of all pretense. Complete the mission within 48 hours, Sterling, or your sister dies. Again, and this time it will be very, very slow. Jacob sat motionless in the bunk, staring at the frozen image of his sister's face. Rebecca, alive. After 5 years of believing she was dead, 5 years of carrying that loss like a stone in his chest, she was alive and imprisoned and being used as leverage against him. His hand trembled as he closed the video file. The bulkhead separating him from the cockpit felt impossibly thin. Beyond it, Sera was humming something in her language, unaware that everything had just changed. He could walk through that door right now, put his pistol to her head, complete the mission, save his sister. Except his life had been built on lies. Jacob pressed his palms against his eyes, trying to think through the chaos. The memory Sera had shared, he could still feel the echo of it, the absolute authenticity of her terror as human ships opened fire. That hadn't been fabricated. But Rebecca was real too. That video was current, 3 days old. His sister was alive and suffering because he'd hesitated. The door to the cockpit slid open. Sera stood in the doorway, her expression careful. I heard the comm. I wasn't trying to listen, but the bulkheads are thin. Jacob didn't lower his hands from his face. They have my sister. I know. She's alive. All this time I thought she was dead, and they've been holding her. They're going to kill her if I don't kill you. His voice cracked. Sera was silent for a long moment. Then she crossed the small space and sat on the edge of the bunk, careful not to touch him. Then you should kill me, she said simply. Jacob finally looked at her. Those amber eyes were steady, resigned. What? Your sister is innocent. She's suffering because of me, because of what I know. If killing me saves her, then that's what you should do. She reached for his pistol, still holstered at his hip. He caught her wrist instinctively. Jacob, I mean it. I won't fight you. If it's a choice between your sister's life and mine, choose her. I would. He should have felt relief. She was giving him permission, making it easy. But the thought of putting a bullet through her head made something twist violently in his chest. There has to be another way, he said. There isn't. You know how these things work. Latimer won't negotiate. He won't give you more time. Then we break her out. Sera blinked, surprise flickering across her face. What? We break her out. You helped me see that memory. You can help me find her, plan the extraction. That's insane. We don't even know where she is. The video had a timestamp and institutional markings. I can narrow it down to maybe 3 facilities. We're 2 days from Sanctum. That gives us time to detour, hit one of the facilities, extract her. Jacob was already thinking tactically, his mind shifting into operational mode. And if we're wrong about which facility, if we waste time searching while your deadline expires, then we adapt. But I'm not killing you, Sera, and I'm not letting them kill my sister either. Sera stared at him, something fierce and wondering in her expression. You barely know me. Why would you risk your sister's life on the chance we can pull off a rescue? Because you showed me the truth. Because my sister saw the truth too, and that's why they disappeared her. Because if I kill you, the lie wins, and I'm done living inside lies. She reached up slowly, giving him time to pull away, and touched his face. The contact was gentle this time, not a memory transfer, but something simpler. Comfort. Connection. Then we save her first, Sera whispered. Show me the video. Let me see if there's anything that might help identify the location. They spent the next hour in the cockpit, analyzing every frame. Sera's memory was perfect. She could recall details Jacob missed on the first viewing. A serial number on equipment in the corner. The specific shade of gray on the walls that matched military specifications. The angle of artificial gravity that suggested a station rather than a planetary facility. Epsilon Station, Jacob said finally. Black site off the books, used for high-value detainees. It's in the Kepler system, maybe 8 hours from our current position. That's practically on the way to Sanctum, Sera said. Almost like they wanted you to try rescuing her. It's a trap. Obviously, but we're going anyway. Sera smiled sharp and dangerous. Then let's make a plan. They worked through the night cycle, plotting entry vectors and backup contingencies. Jacob had never planned an operation with someone who could share tactical information directly into his mind. Every time Sera touched his hand, new data flooded his awareness. Station layouts she'd memorized from stolen intelligence files, guard rotation patterns, weaknesses in security protocols. At some point, exhaustion caught up with them both. They ended up sitting on the floor of the cockpit, backs against the bulkhead, shoulders touching. The contact brought a low-level awareness of each other's thoughts, nothing intrusive but comforting. Tell me about her, Sera said. Your sister, what was she like? Jacob was quiet for a moment, remembering. Brilliant. She was always the smart one. Finished her intelligence training at the top of her class, got assigned to analysis. She loved puzzles, patterns. She could see connections other people missed. That's why she found the discrepancy in the sensor data. Yeah, and instead of promoting her, they killed her, or tried to. Sera's hand found his in the darkness. We'll get her out. I promise you that. You can't promise that. This is a military black site. I can share memories in real time during combat. We proved that on the station. We can coordinate perfectly, move as one unit. That's an advantage they won't be expecting. Jacob turned his head to look at her. In the dim light of the cockpit displays, her skin seemed to glow faintly. Her hair had come loose from its braid, falling around her face in crimson waves. Why are you helping me? He asked. I'm supposed to kill you. My government wants you dead. Your government wants you dead. But then I wouldn't get to do this, Sera said softly. She leaned in and kissed him. The contact was electric, overwhelming. Not just physical sensation, but emotional connection, memories bleeding through at the edges. He felt her fear and hope and desperate attraction. She felt his confusion and guilt and growing need. The kiss deepened, became something urgent and necessary. Jacob pulled back, breathing hard. This is a bad idea. Probably, Sera agreed. Her pupils were dilated, her breathing unsteady. We should focus on the mission. We should. Neither of them moved apart. Jacob's hand came up to cup her face, thumb tracing the line of her cheekbone. After we save Rebecca, he said. After we expose the truth and stop the war and somehow survive all of this. Then maybe, Sera finished. She kissed him again, brief and promising, then pulled away and stood. Get some sleep. Real sleep. I'll take first watch. We drop out of hyperspace near Epsilon Station in 6 hours. Jacob retreated to the bunk, but sleep was long coming. He could still feel the ghost of Sera's lips on his, still taste the cinnamon electric flavor of her skin. The proximity alarm woke him. Sera's voice came through the intercom, tense. "Jacob, we have a problem." He was in the cockpit in seconds, still pulling on his vest. Sera pointed at the display showing the space around Epsilon Station. 3 military cruisers. They're not scheduled to be here. They're waiting for us. Jacob studied the tactical display. 3 cruisers meant hundreds of soldiers, heavy weapons, fighter support. "We can't fight our way through that," Sera said quietly. "I know, so we go smart. Can you get us close without being detected?" Sera's fingers were already moving over the controls. "I can get us close. After that, we improvise." Story of my life. The ship drifted toward Epsilon Station on minimal power, running dark among the scheduled supply traffic. Sera had spoofed their identification codes to match a waste reclamation transport, the kind of vessel security rarely bothered to inspect closely. Jacob watched the cruisers on the display, waiting for the moment they'd be discovered. It didn't come. They slipped past the outer perimeter, threading between patrol routes with timing so precise it had to be luck or divine intervention. Sera's hands never stopped moving on the controls, making micro-adjustments that kept them in the sensor shadows. "Docking port 7, she whispered. "Maintenance access, it connects to the detention level." "How do you know that?" "I stole the station blueprints 3 months ago. I was planning to break someone out myself before I became the one who needed breaking out." The ship settled into the docking clamp with barely a shudder. Sera killed the engines completely, and they sat in silence for a moment, listening to the station's atmosphere processors hum through the hull. Jacob checked his weapons one final time. Pistol, backup pistol, combat knife, 3 grenades he'd found in Sera's armory. Not enough firepower for a frontal assault, but they weren't planning one. Sera asked. She changed into darker clothing, her hair braided tight again. "No," Jacob said honestly. "But let's go anyway." They moved through the docking tube into the station proper. The maintenance corridor was empty, lit by emergency lighting that cast everything in shades of red. Sera took point, her movements fluid and certain. At the first junction, she pressed against the wall and reached back for Jacob's hand. The contact brought a flood of information. Guard positions, camera angles, the patrol that would round the corner in exactly 12 seconds. They waited, pressed together in an alcove, barely breathing as 2 armed soldiers passed within touching distance. When the guards were gone, Sera led them deeper into the station's infrastructure. They moved through spaces meant for machinery, not people, crawling through ventilation shafts, climbing maintenance ladders, always one step ahead of detection. "The detention level is through here," Sera said, indicating a sealed hatch. "But there's a problem. Biometric lock. It needs a security clearance neither of us has." Jacob studied the lock, then pulled a small device from his vest pocket. "Clark in Demolitions owed me a favor. This should override the system, but it'll trigger an alarm." "How long until security responds?" 3 minutes, maybe 4 if we're lucky." Sera's jaw tightened. "Then we need to move fast. The moment that alarm sounds, find your sister and run." "We're not splitting up." "Jacob, we're not splitting up. We go in together, we get her together, we leave together." Sera looked like she wanted to argue, but nodded instead. Jacob attached the override device to the lock and activated it. For 5 seconds, nothing happened. Then the hatch hissed open and alarms began shrieking throughout the station. They ran. The detention level was a maze of corridors and cells, all identical gray walls and reinforced doors. Jacob's augmented vision highlighted heat signatures, prisoners in their cells, guards scrambling to respond to the breach. Sera's hand stayed locked with his, sharing tactical data in real time. "Third corridor, cell 14, she said. They turned the corner and nearly collided with 2 guards. Jacob fired twice, center mass, before they could raise their weapons. The guards dropped. Sera was already at cell 14, her fingers flying over the control panel. The door slid open. Rebecca was sitting on the edge of a metal bunk, thin and pale but alive. When she saw Jacob, her expression cycled through disbelief, hope, and terror in rapid succession. "Jake!" Her voice was hoarse from disuse. "This isn't real. You're not real." Jacob crossed the cell in 2 strides and pulled her into his arms. She was so thin he could feel her bones through the prison uniform. "I'm real, Beck. I'm here. We're getting you out." "You can't be here. They said you were coming, but it's a trap, Jake." "I know, we know, we're still getting you out." Rebecca's eyes focused past Jacob to where Sera stood in the doorway, keeping watch. She's one of them, Jake, she's with us," Jacob said firmly. "She's with us. I'll explain everything later, but right now we need to move." He helped Rebecca to her feet. She swayed, weakened by imprisonment, but managed to stand. Sera moved to her other side without being asked, offering support. "Can you run?" Sera asked. Rebecca looked at her, really looked at her, and something passed between them. "I can run." They moved back into the corridor. The station's alarm was deafening now, punctuated by the sound of boots on metal as security forces converged on their position. Jacob took point this time, Sera supporting Rebecca in the middle, all 3 of them connected by touch. They reached the maintenance access just as a full security team rounded the corner behind them. Jacob threw a grenade without breaking stride. The explosion bought them precious seconds. "The ship won't make it past those cruisers," Rebecca gasped as they climbed. "Not with all 3 of us. The power signature will be too obvious." "She's right," Sera said. "The moment we launch, they'll target us. Then we don't give them a chance to target. Sera, can you plot a jump from inside the station's perimeter?" "That's insane. The gravitational interference alone. Can you do it?" Sera's eyes widened as she understood what he was proposing. "Maybe, if I'm very lucky and we're not atomized by the jump field." "Good enough." They burst back into the docking corridor. The ship was exactly where they'd left it, miraculously untouched. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit were getting closer. Shouts, weapons fire, the heavy tread of armored soldiers. Jacob practically threw Rebecca up the boarding ramp. Sera was already running for the pilot's seat, her hands moving before she even sat down. The engines screamed to life, too loud, too obvious. "Seal the hatch," Sera shouted. Jacob slammed his palm on the control. The ramp closed and locked just as the first soldiers entered the docking corridor. Weapons fire sparked off the hull. "We're not clear of the dock," Rebecca said from where she'd collapsed in the co-pilot's seat. "Not if we jump first," Sera said. Her fingers danced across the navigation console, making calculations that should have taken minutes in seconds. "This is going to feel very, very wrong." The ship tore free of the docking clamp with a shriek of metal. Sera didn't bother with conventional maneuvering. She just pointed them away from the station and activated the jump drive while they were still close enough to see the hull plating. Reality twisted. The sensation was nothing like a normal jump. It felt like being pulled through a space too small for existence, like every atom of Jacob's body was trying to occupy the same point simultaneously. He heard Rebecca scream, heard himself scream. Then they were through. Space stabilized around them. The view screen showed nothing but empty void, no station, no cruisers, no pursuit. Sera had jumped them blind with no plotted course, just away. The ship's systems were screaming warnings, hull integrity compromised, power cells depleted, life support fluctuating, but they were alive. "Everyone intact?" Jacob managed. "Define intact," Rebecca said weakly. Sera's hands were still on the controls, but she was trembling. "That was the stupidest thing I've ever done." "But we weren't," Jacob said. He moved to stand between the pilot and co-pilot seats, one hand on each woman's shoulder. "We made it." Rebecca looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. "Jake, what's happening? 5 years I've been in that cell, and suddenly you show up with an alien who can apparently pilot miracles." "Everything," Jacob said. "You missed everything, but you're out now." "Am I? Are any of us safe? They'll hunt us forever now." "Let them hunt," Sera said. She was plotting a new course, her fingers steady again. "We're going to Sanctum. Your testimony combined with mine will be enough." Rebecca looked between them. You believe her. You believe the aliens didn't start the war. I know they didn't, Jacob said. And you saw it too, Beck. That's why they locked you up. Yeah, Rebecca whispered. The sensor data was clear. We fired first. Sanctum appeared on the view screen like a promise, a massive station suspended in neutral space, gleaming white against the void. Ships from a dozen species orbited it, their running lights creating a constellation of colors. It's beautiful, Rebecca whispered. It won't stay beautiful if we fail, Sera said. 3 ships broke formation and moved to intercept, 2 human frigates and 1 alien cruiser. The comm crackled. Unidentified vessel, you are ordered to power down and prepare to be boarded. Latimer's voice. Jacob activated the channel. Director Latimer, Lieutenant Sterling reporting. I have the target in custody and am requesting permission to dock at Sanctum Station. A pause? You're out of time, Sterling. The deadline passed 6 hours ago. I was delayed by the rescue at Epsilon. But I have both targets, the alien and my sister. I'm bringing them in for testimony before the Arbitration Council. That's not the deal we made. I'm modifying the terms. We all testify. The Council hears everything. Surrender now or we open fire. If you fire, Director, you'll be doing it in front of the entire Arbitration Council. Every sensor on Sanctum is watching. Are you really prepared to murder 3 people while the galaxy watches? The silence stretched. You're bluffing. Then prove it. Show the galaxy exactly what Earth's government does to people who tell the truth. The comm went dead. Then the 3 ships altered course, moving back to patrol positions. The path to Sanctum opened. He backed down, Rebecca said. He's adapting, Jacob said. He'll try something else. The docking procedure was smooth. When the airlock cycled open, they were met by arbiters, 6 beings from 6 species, all wearing neutral gray. The lead arbiter stepped forward, a tall being with bark-like skin. I am Mediator Tall. You have requested emergency session with the Council. This is highly irregular. We have proof both governments lied about initial contact, Jacob said. We have witnesses, memories, sensor data. Tall studied them. Very well, the Council will convene in 1 hour, but if your evidence is insufficient, both governments will be within their rights to claim you. 1 hour is all we need, Sera said. They were given a preparation room. Rebecca collapsed into a chair. We're really doing this. Unless you've changed your mind, Sera said. No, I need to do this. I need it to mean something. Sera took Rebecca's hand, sharing memories. When they separated, Rebecca looked steadier. Thank you for showing me I'm not alone. A chime sounded. The Council is ready. The chamber was enormous, seats rising in tiers around a central platform. Representatives from 24 species filled those seats. Above them, massive view screens showed human and alien military commanders. Latimer was there, expression carved from ice. Beside him was High General Vroth, leader of Sera's people. Tall stood at the center. This council recognizes testimony regarding the initiation of hostilities. Sera of Viridia, you may begin. Sera stepped forward. 5 years ago, I was a junior diplomat on a peace vessel sent to make first contact with humanity. We carried no weapons. We broadcast greetings. The human ships opened fire without warning. They destroyed our vessel. 12 diplomats died. Then human forces struck Ganymede Station, killing their own colonists, and blamed us. The chamber erupted. Tall raised one hand and silence fell. Do you have proof? I have my memories, and I can share them. If you permit it, I can show the council exactly what I witnessed. Tall nodded. The council will permit this. Technicians brought forward a device, a crown of metallic filaments that settled onto Sera's head. Sera closed her eyes. The view screens flickered, and everyone in the chamber was seeing through her eyes. The peaceful approach, the diplomatic vessel, human ships appearing, greetings sent, ignored, missiles hitting, friends dying, the escape pod, and from orbit watching human forces bombard their own station. When it ended, the chamber was silent. Sera swayed. Jacob caught her. I saw it, one delegate said. Memory sharing can be falsified, Latimer's voice cut through. Then let me testify, Rebecca said. She stepped forward. I'm Rebecca Sterling. 5 years ago, I was an intelligence analyst at Ganymede. I monitored the sensor data. I saw the alien ship approaching peacefully. Our vessels opened fire without provocation. Then orders came: strike Ganymede and blame the aliens. I tried to report it. They imprisoned me for 5 years. She pulled up her sleeve, showing scars. This is what they do to humans who tell the truth. Vrat's voice boomed. The human lies. Then you were given false intelligence, Sera said. Someone wanted this war. The delegates erupted. Jacob watched Latimer's face and saw the moment he made his decision. Sera, get down! Jacob threw himself at her just as the door exploded inward. Soldiers poured through, human and alien. The council scattered. Jacob rolled to his feet, weapon in hand. Sera was pulling Rebecca toward cover. The broadcast is still live, Tall shouted. The galaxy is watching. Sera pressed something into Jacob's hand, a data chip. Everything, get it to the delegates. What are you doing? Buying you time. She kissed him, hard and desperate, then ran toward the soldiers. She wasn't fighting. She was touching them. Each contact made a soldier freeze, overwhelmed by memories she forced into their minds. One by one, the soldiers stopped fighting. Jacob grabbed Rebecca and ran for Tall. This, everything we know, makes sure it reaches everyone. Tall took the chip. It will be done, but you must leave. We're not running anymore. Jacob walked to where Sera stood, surrounded by soldiers who'd stopped attacking. He took her hand. Together, he said. Together, she agreed. The view screen flickered, showing the data chip's contents broadcasting across every frequency. The truth, unstoppable now. Around them, soldiers were lowering weapons. Some were crying. The delegates emerged from cover, expressions shifting from fear to understanding. Latimer's face contorted with rage, but his audio cut out. Vroth's screen went dark, a mutiny, perhaps. Tall approached them slowly. Better chaos built on truth than order built on lies, Rebecca said. Tall inclined his head. The council will begin proceedings immediately. You three will be granted asylum here for as long as you need. We'll need it for a while, Jacob said. He looked at Sera, saw the exhaustion in her eyes. We all need time to heal. Tall led them out through a side entrance, away from crowds and cameras. They found themselves in a quiet corridor overlooking Sanctum's gardens, green growing things and flowing water. Jacob stood at the viewport with Sera on one side and Rebecca on the other. Through the transparent wall, he could see the human and Viridian fleets beginning to separate, moving away from combat positions. What happens now? Rebecca asked. Now we rest, Sera said. We heal, we let the truth do its work. And after that, Jacob felt Sera's hand slip into his, felt the warmth of the contact and the echo of her thoughts. After that, we build something new, something better. Sera turned to face him, amber eyes bright. I never thought I'd see this day. Never thought the truth would be enough. You made it enough, Jacob said. We made it enough, she corrected. All of us together. She leaned in and kissed him, gentle this time, a promise instead of a goodbye. When they separated, Rebecca was smiling despite her tears. So my brother's in love with an alien who can read minds and just ended a 5-year war. You've been part of this from the beginning, Jacob said. You saw the truth first. And paid for it, Rebecca said. But it's over now, they can't hide it anymore. Through the viewport, the first ships were jumping to hyperspace, not to fight, but to carry the news home. The truth spreading across the galaxy. Tall returned, carrying 3 small devices. Communicators, linked directly to the council. If either government attempts retaliation, activate these and we will intervene. Thank you, Sera said. When Tall left, they stood together watching the ships depart and station lights reflecting off the gardens. The future was uncertain. Investigations to come, trials, the slow work of building peace. But for now they were alive, together, and the truth was free. Sera's hand tightened in his. Thank you for trusting me, for believing me, for running beside me. Thank you for showing me the truth, Jacob said. For giving me the chance to be better. They stood together as the stars wheeled overhead, and the galaxy began its slow turn toward peace. Three people who'd been willing to risk everything for the truth. Jacob knew he'd finally found something worth more than any mission or order. He'd found purpose, he'd found love. Not in a place, but in the woman beside him. Her green skin glowing faintly in the starlight, her hand warm in his, her mind touching his with promises of tomorrow. Together, they walked toward their new life, leaving the war behind and carrying only truth forward into whatever came next.